Hey guys, today I want to do my out-of-box review for the HGUC 1/144 scale Victory 2 Assault Buster Gundam. Now, as you can tell right off the bat, this is not in its Assault Buster Gundam form. This is actually just the Buster Gundam. And that's one of my favorite things about this kit is that you can actually build 4 different versions of the V2 Gundam with this set, with this kit. You can just build just the V2 Gundam by itself, or you can build the Buster Gundam as we see here, or just the Assault Gundam, or the Assault Buster Gundam. So I think this is probably one of my favorite HG kits that I've built in a while. I really like this kit. It's really awesome, and we'll talk more about it throughout the review. But I really like this, and one of the reasons is because you have the option to choose between those different kind of weapon loadouts or kind of equipment loadouts, whichever you want to choose. So this is actually one of those kits that I think you might want to buy more than one, just because I personally really like the look of just the Buster Gundam itself here, the V2 Buster. And someone was asking me if it can stand by itself, and as you can see, it is able to stand with that very large backpack on there. Luckily, I think because the size of the Gundam is just relatively small, it just doesn't really have as much of a problem holding that backpack up. Of course, it does take some maneuvering. It's not standing super easily, but it does stand. I think either way, it's going to look much better on an action base. Anyway, so aside from being able to make the 4 different versions of the V2 Gundam, the other thing is just that the model just looks really great. It's really nice looking kit. The colors are really good. There are definitely a handful of stickers on there. On the back skirts, these side pieces on the leg, and on the front skirts there's those gray pieces, gray stickers in there. In that red part on the front of there's a gray sticker. Of course on the eyes and camera there's stickers there. On the backpack inside this part, that's a yellow sticker there, some red stickers on the top of there. So there are quite a lot of stickers, but I think those are all color apps that would be super easy to paint by hand, so or just by masking, however you want to do it. So I think those are not really the kind of stickers that I would really complain about. I think those kind of color apps are just easy enough to paint, so you don't really need them. And if you don't paint, I think the stickers themselves work really well if you just want to use the stickers, so that's really good too. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the articulation of this kit, and then I'll transform it into the actual Assault Buster Gundam. The articulation is all pretty basic for an HG, so I don't really want to cover everything in great detail, but the head is really nice. You get some really nice upward motion there, downward motion like that. The arms are on the standard, the shoulders are on the standard ball joint that we've seen in most recent HGs. Not the ball joint, sorry, the shoulder joint that swings out. I had a problem with mine actually getting stuck inside there, so just kind of be careful with that. I had to pull it back out. And then everything else is pretty normal. The Victory's elbow joints are pretty strange like that, but we are getting a pretty nice bend, only about 90 degrees, but it's still, I think, good enough. The shoulders, of course, are really nice. The shoulder armor is separate, so it can move separate from the arm like that, up maybe about only that far. We've got this part here on the side that moves as well. We got some really nice movement here in the waist. It's gonna go to the side like that. Not as much forward and back, but it's just on a ball joint inside. You can still get some though, so it's still, I think, better than most high grades. That's still pretty good. The front skirts are joined, but you can separate those like normal. The back skirts don't move. Side skirts are pretty normal. Legs are all pretty normal there, some rotation at the top, and then they're just on ball joints. There's a joint here in the knee that's going to give you about that much before it pops off this piece on this side, so just be careful about that. But pretty good, more than 90 degrees. And the ankles are, again, pretty basic. I think just pretty standard for high grade. We do get some nice motion there in the toe, so that's pretty good. I think that you'd also have to be careful because I think that's going to pop off. Yeah, but it is going to move down, which is not always standard in an HG, so that's pretty nice. We have a little bit of empty space there underneath the foot, but not really a whole lot that you really want to complain about. So I think So basically, overall, I think the articulation is really nice, and it's going to allow you to just get this kit in some really awesome poses once you've got it up on action base. Anyway, some really nice posability there. Of course, some stuff is kind of popping out here and there, but again, that's just because I'm just doing this very haphazardly for the review. Of course, if you're just careful and you're not pulling stuff really quickly and like I am, then everything will stay together fine. One thing I do want to warn you about is here on the backpack, this kind of T gray part that connects the backpack to these two kind of pods for these weapons on the back. Just be careful of that, because it just plugs into a polycap there, and when you're plugging on these parts onto the side, it just attaches via this ball here. It's not really easy or secure to plug in. Once it plugs on there, it doesn't really like snap into place. It's just kind of like resting on there, and if you move it around, it just moves it right off the ball joint, so that's not very good. And then this peg here is already getting stressed a little bit, because I think you just have to be really careful. I think if you're not careful, you'll break that peg off in the polycap inside there. So just make sure you take this out before you put the weapons on. Put these weapons on first, and then plug it into the backpack so you're not putting any unnecessary stress on that peg inside there. So just be careful about that. From now, I'm going to go ahead and transform this into the V2 Assault Buster Gundam, and then I'll show you just some of the accessories and stuff that we've got with it. Okay, so here he is all transformed, looking very regal now with that gold on there. Still not really personally a huge fan of this gold that Bandai uses. It's not really all that great, but it doesn't look too bad. We've only really got it here in these big parts on the knees, the shoulders, and that new front skirt armor. And everything else is just pretty much all of the standard things that we just saw on the Buster Gundam. Of course, we've got rid of the extra armor parts on the side, which I actually think are like missile pods or something, if I remember correctly, and same with the front skirts as well. The side skirts are changed to these really long ones, and then these shoulder parts are just kind of, you have to swap a part there. Of course, there is a lot of part swapping involved, so you are going to have a handful of extra parts, depending on whichever mode or kind of form you choose. I think whichever form you inevitably choose to display your kit in, you are going to have a handful of extra parts, so it's just something you're just going to have to deal with there. One thing I forgot to mention before, it's cool about the articulation here at the wrist. We are getting like a little bit of a bend there in this part, like at the front of the arm. So that's pretty cool. That's something we don't often see in high grades. And of course these stickers here, these blue stickers here on the front of the gold parts are going to be stickers, but again, really easy to just paint those if you wanted. Alright, so now why don't we take a look at some of the accessories, and there are some really cool ones. So first off, let's start off with these two beam saber handles. Now we have two of these, but actually, these were the parts that we were supposed to omit from this kit because we didn't get any beam saber effect parts. I really don't know what Bandai was thinking by not giving us any beam effect parts. I mean, I could see just omitting these, like, I mean, I understand, okay, don't use the beam sabers, but if the beam sabers are on the runners, I mean, already, why not just throw in the beam saber effect parts too? I mean, the Victory Gundam, the Victory Dash Gundam both have beam saber effect parts, especially the beam fan. I think like for any Victory Gundam fan, I think the beam fan is like such a iconic thing for Victory Gundam. To not include it with this kit is just kind of silly. I really don't know what they were thinking by not including it with this kit. Bandai is getting really skimpy with the beam saber effect parts. Again, with the HGUC Assault Buster Gundam didn't come with any either. It's just kind of very strange and ridiculous. Then we have the core lander as well for the V2 Gundam. It's pretty cool. There is no movement here. This doesn't open up, and nothing opens or moves at all. And no sticker for the cockpit hatch. It's kind of odd. I would have expected that we would have got a sticker for that. But what we do have for it is this part, which is just so you're able to put it on an action base. You have to plug this into the back. It's not easy to get it in there if you have big fingers like me, but then once you've got that in there, then you can just plug this onto an action base and have it flying along there. It's not bad. I mean, as far as Corelanders go, it's one of the more interesting looking ones, more so than some others. But again, just if you want to do something with that, you can. Then we have the beam rifle, which is just this standard beam rifle, but then we have this new part for it that just plugs onto there. It's okay. This part that plugs on the underside, there's like these two holes. That's the hole where you plug it in, and then this hole is just nothing. So you've just got a kind of hole in there. It looks kind of weird, but most of the time you're probably not going to notice that ever. So ultimately, this does look really cool. We got two green stickers there on top and bottom inside there, so it looks really, really good. I really like the look of this beam rifle. It's really nice. But why use this when you could use this? This is the, I think, Mega Beam Rifle, I think it's called, if I remember correctly, but I could be wrong on that. I really love this weapon. It would have been cool if they would have made this part to slide kind of here, just miss some sliding mechanism, but I think it's okay like this. I mean, I would rather have it just nice and secure like this. If they made it slide, then, you know, it could get loose or not fit really well or something like that. As it is, it works perfectly fine. It's simple, it's only a few parts. This one also has a few spaces where, like in there, it's just some empty space that you might want to just cover up with some plow plate or putty. And then on, I think this side, there was just a little bit there as well of that. But not too bad. Again, it's in areas where you're probably not going to notice the majority of the time. We've got the handle here, and that's pretty easy, just slides into the hand for like an underhand grip. That's really cool. This part here on the top, if you want, you can move that to this down position like that. I'm not really sure why, and if I remember correctly, it doesn't really say anything about that in the manual, but I could be wrong. But that's pretty much it. I'll show you that on the kit momentarily when we finish up. There's one more accessory we need to talk about, and that is the shield. Now this thing is loaded with stickers. Basically, everything that's not blue or white on here is just the stickers. So this whole black triangle and this black and yellow triangle is one big sticker, and then the red and black on these three parts is also stickers. So pretty crazy there. I think this would be the one part that would involve the most amount of masking, I think, once you're going to be doing some painting on that. So, but again, still not really all that difficult. Some pretty simple masking on that. The back is pretty simple, pretty nice. These parts do come off separately. So I think if you wanted to do something with these like flying around, you could do that pretty easily as well. Again, pretty simple, just plugs into the hand. It doesn't attach onto the arm, so you shouldn't really have too much of an issue with that. Why don't we go ahead and put these on the Gundam and see how it works. Alright, so shield first. Just going to carefully slide this into the hand and hope nothing falls off anywhere. And that's it. That was pretty simple. I like that, and it holds it. I mean, that position is perfect, I think, so really, really nice. This white part is kind of ugly there. You might want to go in and just with some plow play or something, add a couple details in there maybe. Might make that look a little bit nicer. It's a little bit just kind of boring there. Very flat and not really any detail. The Mega Cannon or Mega Rifle here. Let's try that. Just should slide into the hand. It pulled the hand apart a little bit there, but again, that's it. Really simple. This is the first, I should let you guys know, this is the first time I've put these things on the Gundam. I haven't done this at all yet. So for the first time, for those going on perfectly smoothly like that and holding them really nicely, that's pretty awesome. I'm definitely just loving this kit even more as going through this review. When we started off the review and just as I was building the kit, I loved the kit, and I'm just really loving it even more now that I've got these weapons on there. The beam rifle, I guess, would just go on there. You'll have to actually take the hand apart to put it on there to hold that, but I'm sure it's going to look really awesome as well. So that's going to be pretty much it for the V2 Assault Buster Gundam. I can most definitely 200% recommend this kit. Moving it around, there are a few areas where stuff comes apart pretty easily, I noticed. Just the backpack, like I mentioned, these parts on the backpack don't stay on very well. This part, the lower arm was coming apart at the elbow a little bit. The knee came apart once. The torso, just the ball joint in the middle of the torso, that came separated a couple times. But, I mean, all of those things are pretty easy. I mean, if it pops off, just pop back on. It's not really that big of a deal. The kit overall is mostly pretty light, so there's not going to be a whole lot of weight issues pretty much anywhere. I think we shouldn't have any problem. Let me just try this just to be sure. Holding up that rifle like that, we've got no problems at all. The rifle weighs basically nothing despite its size. It doesn't really weigh much, so this is an awesome looking kit. I think I'm really happy with this. I'm not going to do a size comparison, but just so you guys know, the V series Gundams are definitely smaller than average Gundams, so it is going to be a slightly smaller scale than other average Gundams, like for example RX-78-2. This is going to be a little bit shorter, so just keep that in mind. It's not a very big kit, which is not always a bad thing. It doesn't take up a whole lot of shelf space. That's pretty much it for this review, guys. This is an awesome kit. Definitely go out and get it. If you couldn't tell, I'm very happy with it. It's got some great articulation, great accessories, great options in terms of how you want to load out the Gundam, and just great details, all of that. It looks amazing. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, comments, leave those down below. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.